what I've noticed, just over the last, 13, 14 years of coaching people is so many people, they just really struggle with what to say. They really do. I know a lot of people that have a lot of followers and get a lot of engagement that don't make much money. Because if you're not converting, it's like, okay, it's kind of like having really great landscaping, but you come in and the floors aren't done, it's like, well, it looked nice out there. And either they aren't reading what's coming back to them, or they're doing one really common thing is that they'll hear this guru and they'll say, ooh, I like that line. And then they'll hear this guru say something totally different. You know what? I like that second line. And I like that. And pretty soon they're sending 16 lines and separate, they may make sense. Together, they make absolutely no sense. And so so many times, like I've never, when I've done a training over the last 13, 14 years, I have never, not one time, had someone say, hey, I'm doing a lot of reach outs, I'm not getting any results. And it wasn't a problem in what they were sending. Right. And so I usually just say, show me your script. And they'll show it to me, and it's got some of this guys, some of this girls, some of this guys, and it makes no darn sense. And that's why it's not working. Yep. And so, I can't do that with everybody until now. And so, we spent, I think it was 16, 20, 50 hours. I don't know. I'm just kidding. It wasn't that. It was quite a few hours. We spent quite a few hours going through a lot of scenarios, a lot of objections, reach outs. We spent a lot of time together to put it together. And so in a mass scale, I have the most confidence in your guys' system of doing it than any other way I could possibly do it. Because I don't have all time to look at everyone on the planet's, scripts and messages. I could fix them, but now this system will help with that. And then, so by combining this of, hey, here is how you get more engagement. Here's how you get the algorithm to pay attention to you. Here's content for you to, post out there, but then here's how to convert. And I'll tell you, like when I hear someone say like, hey, scripts don't work or whatever. And this isn't, I'm just picking on that thought in general, not the person, because I actually didn't see who said it. But when I've experienced that kind of response of, oh, scripts don't work, they're prospecting other marketers. And so don't get this twisted. The most skeptical person is the marketer. They're the most skeptical, right? I use the psychology that is just not designed for marketers and for you to be prospecting. So if you find a high failure rate in your reach outs, if you are using scripts or whatever, take a look. Am I prospecting only other marketers? Because usually that can be tougher than it has to be. It's the translation of I teach that there's 4 P's to being a successful recruiter, right? And that's pipeline, position, posture, perspective. And so those 4 things are the things. Now, I've sensed, like, in just from really digging into it, to build a successful empire, it's 6 pillars, right? Which includes work-life balance, which includes wealth and mindset, sales, marketing, leadership. But the 4 P's. So I've taught, pipeline, posture, position, perspective for many years. And I kind of have to teach them that way. And you kind of have to learn them that way, because you need to have these filters, and this is how I respond. Okay. But that becomes the difficulty is, okay, how do I, if so, today, just a couple hours ago, we had our, we have a challenge. We're in the middle of this challenge thing. And someone asked, what do you say if they say, how do you respond? And so I told them, right, so you want to respond in a postured way, not an arrogant way, because arrogance and posture are different things, right? Posture is I'm responding in a powerful way that doesn't diminish them in any way, but holds my energy and isn't trying to convince them of anything. Arrogance is I'm just out to make them look bad, me feel better about myself. And so if I don't know, if I cannot tell positive or negative which way they're leaning, and don't assume, I thought it might be negative, but I couldn't actually tell. So when I can't tell, I say, yes, it is. Why do you ask? And he says, because, oh my God, no one ever prospects me. I've made over $100 million in insurance, but no one ever prospects me. And I love the concept. And I'm like, awesome. Welcome to the team. and so, but see, if you assume that everyone that asks that is just negative, then you may respond in not the greatest way. Now, if I can tell someone is negative, sometimes you can tell, right? You can tell. If they ask it in that kind of way, I actually say, yeah, you know what? I actually thought about opening another business, but it was too high risk and too overhead. So I started with this one. So I'm not shying away from it. I'm not saying, yeah, and it's the best, right? I'm not doing that because that doesn't work, right? I'm not saying, yeah, because in middle management, you got the mid managers and the janitor, right? I'm not going into this big, goofy convincing thing because convincing doesn't work. It doesn't. By the way, you can tell if you're doing your initial reach outs right. If you're reaching out to cold market, I prefer audio, and it needs to be less than 25 seconds. If you're going over 25 seconds, you're saying too much to someone who is in the wrong position. So if you're saying ground floor patent pending, the greatest thing ever, the unicorn, the next Netflix, or whatever that hypey kind of stuff you're using, you're not being effective in your reach outs. And so it's something that, that's, one tiny sliver of the kind of mindset that you get with what we worked on in the system.